I grew up in Boothbay. Boothbay is just a small fishing village. It's a peninsula. One road in, one road out. They're both the same thing. They just go opposite directions. The town itself is kind of small, and it's kind of secluded from a lot of society, and you don't hear about a lot of the outside distractions. It was a nice place to grow up. It was perfect. I'm currently employed at Washburn and Doughty. We built tugboats. The company's built fishing boats, anything from lobster boats to dragger boats, research vessels. Primarily for the past few years, it's been tugboats. The day of the fire, I woke up. I was at my house, actually, when I heard that the fire was going off. I rushed right down, and it really was a horrific sight to see, because it just led to so many questions on what tomorrow was going to bring. I felt a big knot in my chest, is what I felt. It really was a sight that it's going to be burnt in my mind probably for the rest of my life. When the fire happened, they kept a few of us around, and I was very fortunate to be one of them that made it through that. It was kind of a saving grace for many of us to be still employed, that the boat was launched beforehand, so that the company didn't have to shut right down.
My name is Elizabeth Evans Poche, and we're at the East Boothbay General Store. It's been a store for 128 years. I think now it's sort of morphed into more of a cafe. And lunch spot, we don't do stuff like nuts and bolts and wire and tape so much anymore. It was a beautiful morning, and we were downstairs just serving coffee and baking muffins, the usual thing. And somebody ran up from Washburn and said, "The place is on fire." And when we got there, it was clear that the building was really on fire. But the heat that came from it, and we were probably 150 feet, 200 feet away, was the most intense heat I had ever felt. It felt like a hairdryer was blowing in your face. And I would guess the explosion started about an hour and 15 minutes into it, and every once in a while there'd be not so much a sound, because I think it was muffled by just the fury of the flames, but you could feel percussion. And I was told that people could feel it even up here at the store. Yeah, the flames were huge. And I think the building has got to be probably a 50, 60-foot building anyhow. And they were double the height of the building. And I think the most striking thing, beyond the heat and the flames and the percussion coming from the explosions, was just the plume of thick black smoke that was just going down the river. And it just went on and on and on. I think the way the fires affected our business is that we just no longer see some of the same faces, the guys who did come and buy a slice of pizza or maybe get their beer after work. We don't see them anymore. And I think, the bottom line will tell the tale when we finally get around to seeing what the summer looked like. And I'm sure it'll be affected by the loss of the Washburn and Doughty employees. The employees are great at Washburn and Doughty, and they're good guys. They work really hard, and I've got a favorite. This neat guy who is from New Orleans. He's probably in his 50s, and he's been a welder his whole life. He builds boats, and he was building boats in the Mississippi when Katrina came through, and so he thought he'd be safe in Maine from any kind of disaster, and I miss him the most.
My name is Carol LaFontaine, and I live in East Boothbay, Maine, and my house is directly across the street from the Washburn Doughty boatyard and fire. It was so hot you couldn't stay on the front porch. And it was a little scary because I didn't have any water pressure in my hoses. The firefighters were busy putting water on other areas and were not putting water on my house or the neighbor's house. And the front of my house is 1861, so that's old, dry wood. It was a little intense.
I have all the faith in the world that Washburn and Doughty will rebuild really quickly and better than ever. East Boothbay will continue to be, one of the boat building capitals of the nation, and I think it'll be good for the area in the end. It'll just be hard in the interim.